Welcome to Forensic Friday.
Where we examine the intersection of true crime, psychology, and the heart of being human in the middle of it all. There we go. So, yeah, I just missed you today.
I know. It was fun. I could hear all you guys having so much fun.
Okay. Girlfriend, do I have a case for you?
Yay! What is it?
Okay, so I was thinking about fall because I'm dying to bring the black nails back and I'm just ready to be living my fall life,
Mhm.
you know?
I'm ready for everything pumpkin, even though now pumpkin's like year round. I don't get it.
Well, no, because it's got to be special.
Yes.
I'm just ready for fall. And fall is like the best time to
Mm-hmm.
get cozy and watch something a little creepy,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking through what are some of the spookier cases that I have come across?
Hmm.
It's always creeped me out a little bit. And Gara explained to me some behind the scenes stuff on the internet that I didn't know about that helped me understand how this all happened.
Okay.
Okay, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready for story time?
I'm ready for spooky.
Spooky. Okay, so get cozy. Do you know what creepy pasta is online?
No.
Okay.
Should I Google it?
No, I'll tell you about it.
Okay.
So basically, creepy pasta originated from the concept of copy paste.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And there was like a forum on the internet where they had a lot of dumb, funny kind of stories.
Okay.
And then when those stories were kind of scary, then instead of copy paste, they called it creepy pasta. I
Huh.
know. It's so weird. I didn't know any of this. Garrett explained all this to me. Okay.
Okay.
So basically, on this storytelling forum,
Mm-hmm.
you would have collaborative storytelling. So it's almost like a campfire online.
Okay.
So people are sharing things and you can kind of build a myth around certain things and all of that, right? And you're
Okay.
doing this with other people.
Yeah.
The problem is like so many other things online, at some point it's hard to know what's real and what's not real,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to picture a park in the Midwest. So like you go to Michigan.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So this all took place in Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so picture a park in Wisconsin, and you've got three little 12-year-old girls and they're playing hide and seek.
Okay. I'm already creeped out.
I know it is creepy. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's a little bit creepy. So you've got these three 12-year-old girls
Mm-hmm.
playing hide and seek,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden, one of them climbs on top of one of the other ones, and they start talking about killing the third one. So two of them are standing there, one's holding one of the girls down, and the other girl and her are going back and forth about, well, you do it, you do it, you do it, you do it. And they're passing a knife back and forth.
And they're on top of the girl that they're talking about killing.
Yep, who they were just playing with at the park.
What? And they're friends.
And they were friends. Three of them
Okay.
are friends. Although,
I don't know this story.
three-person girl friendships.
Oh, it's terrible. Always terrible.
It's always terrible.
Always terrible.
It just doesn't work. Maybe I could do it now, but even then, I gotta say, it just doesn't work.
Mm-mm.
It's like a love triangle. Like it just never ever works out right.
There's always someone on the out.
Someone's always on the out, and usually it rotates.
Yeah.
There's some kind of rotation, right?
Yeah.
These three absolutely were friends playing in the park, and all of a sudden this happens out of nowhere.
Okay.
Out of nowhere. Okay. So one of the little girls stabbed the other little girl 19 times
What?
in the arms, legs, and torso.
Oh my God.
5-inch blade. Think about your 5-inch heels. Okay.
I don't have 5-inch heels.
I'm pretty sure you do.
No, I got the tops three.
3? You
Yeah.
have at least 4-inch heels.
No.
Well, picture 5 inches, a 5-inch
Okay.
blade.
That's insane.
Right. Okay. 2 of the wounds were to major organs, including narrowly missing a major artery,
Hmm.
and they stabbed through her diaphragm, cutting into her liver or stomach.
Oh,
After the attack, they tell her lie down and that they're going to go find help, which of course they didn't, right?
right. Right.
So this little 12-year-old girl with
Mm-hmm.
19 stab wounds
Mm-hmm.
drags herself to a nearby road where she's found by a cyclist, and the cyclist calls 911.
Thank God.
Yep, she had a 6-hour surgery to
Mm-hmm.
repair her wounds. She left the hospital. One article I read said she left the hospital after 7 days, one said 10 days. Either way, she literally went back to school in the fall. Like this kid is a champion. Okay, so she survives.
Mm-hmm.
The girls who attacked her are found within 5 hours of the victim being found
Okay. So they knew those two girls did it.
because she was alive. Yep, because she
Okay.
was alive.
Okay, good. Well, I thought this was going to take a turn and you're going to tell me she didn't tell on the girls, but thank God she did.
Oh no, she was like, they did it. I mean, I don't know what she said exactly.
Right, but
She's like, go
probably.
get them,
Yep.
right? You know? So within 5 hours, okay, the
Hmm.
police find the two attackers, the two girls,
Hmm.
about 5 miles away from where the attack happened.
Dang,
Okay.
they traveled fast.
So the police start talking to these two girls, and one of the girls, covered in blood, tells police, I might as well say it. We were trying to kill her.
What?
The murder weapon is in their bag. And guess where they said they were going?
Where?
They said that they were going to meet Slender Man.
Who's that?
Oh, you don't know about this. This is going to blow your
I
mind.
don't know. I don't know anything about this.
Oh, so excited. Okay. So they told police that they were,
Is it a true story?
huh? This
Oh
is
my
all true. Hmm.
God. I feel like I've watched a movie on this, but okay.
Oh, it's wild. Okay.
Okay.
So they told police that they were traveling to meet Slender Man at his home called Slender Mansion in Nicollet National Forest, which was 200 miles away. So, like, were they going to walk? They're 12-year-old girls. They're just walking around.
Okay.
Okay. Both said they had to do it for Slender Man. They
Okay.
had to do it for Slender Man. One of the girls had no empathy whatsoever. Deadpan, covered in blood, deadpan,
Was
no
that the one who
emotion.
said, I might as well say it? We tried to kill her. Okay.
Yep.
Go figure.
Other ones a little more emotional, having a little bit of remorse.
Yes.
Okay. This is the Slender Man case.
Okay.
So let me tell you, now that you know the story, I'm going to show you
Mhm.
Slender Man.
Okay.
I'm going to share my screen with you, and I am going to show you the rendition of Slender Man and the history of Slender Man. And then I'm going to tell you more about the people involved.
Okay.
Okay. Freaking creepy as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't even want to know what Google thinks I'm doing at any
Mm-hmm.
given time between our job and this kind of stuff. Okay.
Right.
So this is Slender Man.
Creepy.
Isn't that creepy?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's some other renditions online. This is one I've seen.
Okay.
This is one I've seen. There's so many different renditions.
Kind of looks like Jack from what's that Christmas slash Halloween movie?
Oh, Nightmare.
Before Christmas.
Nightmare Before Christmas. Yep.
Yeah.
But creepy. It's
Yeah, it's super
creepy.
creepy. Hmm.
Well, first of all, what are you even thinking about? Just what happened?
I mean, that's insane. Like, I'm I can't even imagine. I'm just picturing my two best friends that I grew up with.
All of a sudden?
But we were always, there was always drama with our friend group, you know, they could attest to this because we're all still friends.
Yep.
I just am like like not I couldn't picture them, but it's like basically if they killed me or tried to.
Every girl in the world has been in a three-person friendship where at any given time two could have killed the third,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
right? Now there's layers to this that are going to help make it more sense, but statistically, okay, so emotionally makes sense maybe that these three girls have, whatever, maybe some beef. That's what you might
Yeah,
think.
sure.
It's interesting statistically, 12-year-old girls don't kill each other. That's not a thing that happens. It's an
No.
anomaly statistically and in every
Yeah.
other way, right?
Yeah.
This story made headlines when it happened. It happened back in 2014.
Okay.
So I'm going to take you back to 2009.
I can't believe I didn't hear about this.
I know. It creeped me out from jump. I was like, what? We got little girls doing what? For who? I was like,
For who is Slender Man?
like, oh my gosh, this is so stressful. Okay, so basically, Eric Knudsen
Mm-hmm.
in 2009 was in this forum called the Something Awful Forum. And they build fictional characters. There's actually a lot of writers that kind of interact online and build characters, and sometimes people then bring in drawings and whatever. So this was this forum,
Mm-hmm.
and he kind of invented this character, Slender Man, and it was a thin, unnaturally tall humanoid form of a man with
Okay.
a featureless white head and face wearing a suit.
Hmm.
That's kind of the Slender Man thing.
Yeah.
And Something Awful was kind of a humor site for people to enjoy joking about various things. So this thing started to catch fire because it was a little bit creepy. People were kind of interested in it. It
Mm-hmm.
gets a lot of traction. And then a little bit later in 2009, there was a new forum thread that invited users to create paranormal images through Photoshop.
Hmm.
And one of the users named Victor Surge created these pictures and
Mm-hmm.
had photos of children being haunted by a tall, shadowy figure with
Okay.
tentacles for arms that included ominous text. And
Okay.
then all of these users start contributing to this story, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So pretty soon, it's literally a 194-page PDF document of just stuff that's been made up about this Slender Man character.
Right.
Faux news stories. This is a real thing. People have killed in his name. He's killed people. He lurks in the woods. Maybe like it's a real person, like a serial killer. I mean, just the whole gamut, right?
Yeah.
And it moved into kind of the internet mainstream and other niche forums like
Okay.
4chan's paranormal board, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that is how Slender Man became a thing. So
Okay.
then what happened with these teenagers is they were online quite a bit,
Mm-hmm.
right? And got exposed to Slender Man.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically you have three girls involved in this story. You have Anissa Weir, Morgan Geyser, and Peyton Bella Lutner. Those are the three.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So Peyton goes by Bella, so we're going to call her Bella.
Okay.
So Anissa and Morgan
Mm-hmm.
were not the OG friends. So the OG friends were Morgan and Bella.
Okay.
Bella befriended Morgan because Morgan was alone a lot. She was
Mm.
alone in the lunchroom. She didn't have a ton of friends.
So
And
Morgan, can I guess?
mhm,
Bella's the one that got stabbed.
yep,
Morgan's the little sociopath,
potentially. I have
potentially,
layers.
but she's the flat one.
She's the flat one.
And then what's the other one's name?
Anissa,
Anissa, and she cried because she was best friends with Bella before.
you're very close. So here's what happened.
Okay.
Bella befriended Morgan because Morgan didn't
Yeah.
have any friends. Okay, so those two were friends. Then Anissa comes along.
Oh, okay, okay.
Anissa becomes friends with Morgan, and the two of them get obsessed with Slender Man.
Oh my gosh.
Bella gets a little spooked out.
Yeah.
Bella's like, hey guys, this is a lot. I don't
Yeah.
know that I like this. I'm gonna,
Yeah.
you know. So she was trying to extricate a little bit from the friendship.
Yeah.
Anissa had a hard time with
Mm-hmm.
Bella and Morgan being friends.
Mm.
Okay, so that's the underlying kind of friend
Yeah.
dynamic drama.
Yeah.
So, additionally, there's a couple things that you should know. Morgan had a lot of invisible friends growing
Mm-hmm.
up,
Mm-hmm.
talked to herself quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Really, she had lifelong visual and auditory hallucinations. She saw figures and ghosts. She would see colors melt into the wall.
Okay.
She had a recurring man that she named It, that
Mm.
she perceived standing behind her or shifting around the corner.
Mm.
And again, her parents said this was lifelong. Like this really is something that she suffered with
Yeah.
and didn't talk about a lot of
Sorry, which girl is this again?
Morgan.
Okay, okay.
This is Morgan.
Got it. She's got some mental health stuff.
She's got some mental health stuff. And
Okay.
so Anissa also was very bought into the Slender Man thing, but there's not a lifelong history of some of these symptoms going on.
Right.
That's where they differ.
Hmm. I think it's interesting that Morgan has some mental health issues, some
Hmm.
problems there. Did you say her diagnosis schizophrenia?
I will get to that because she was not diagnosed, to my knowledge, prior to the trial.
Well, she might have been too young to diagnose.
You can diagnose childhood schizophrenia, but it is not terribly common. So
Right.
you can, it's not like a personality disorder where you really can't,
Shouldn't.
but
Yeah.
it's rare.
Yeah.
Childhood onset schizophrenia is fairly rare.
Okay. So it's interesting because she was the one with the flat affect that
Hmm.
looked more like a little sociopath.
Yeah, that's what it looks like for
Right.
sure.
Right. And but she's struggling with
Mhm.
hallucinations and delusional thinking and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
Morgan is the one who did all the stabbing.
oh,
So
I'm not surprised. I already figured that.
and she was the one covered in blood. So
Yeah.
while they were passing the knife back and forth, and Bella's watching this, okay, while they're passing the knife back and forth, they're trying to get the other one to do it, kind of, but then
Hmm.
Morgan just did it.
She's like full send,
Full
whatever.
send. Morgan did, yes. So
Wow.
Anissa watched Morgan, and that becomes important with sentencing because I have some opinions on this one, some strong opinions that I don't know that everyone will agree with, but I have opinions.
Okay.
Okay. So when this actually happened May 31st, 2014. So these gals go to trial, they get evaluated by everybody under the sun. So you and I know what it is to evaluate people who are in the court process.
Yeah.
We don't do a ton of pre-sentence
Mm-mm.
evaluations. These were pre-sentence,
Mm-hmm.
really thorough psychiatric evaluations.
Yep.
And these are 12-year-olds,
Yep.
12-year-old girls. Both of them, through the course of the trial, they had their own trials,
Mm-hmm.
were found not guilty by mental disease or defect and committed to mental health institutions.
Both girls?
Both.
The other one didn't have any symptoms.
Well,
Okay.
uh-huh. So Anissa
Mm-hmm.
Weir, got
Mm-hmm.
25 to life. Okay. Morgan Geyser
Mm-hmm.
got 40 years to life
Okay.
because Morgan is the one who did the
After.
stabbing,
Yeah.
right? Anissa Weir
Mm-hmm.
was diagnosed with schizophrenia in one of her evaluations as well.
Mm-hmm.
She was released after 7 years. So she is no longer in a mental institution as of 2021.
She's just out living her life.
She's out living her life. Now, here's the conditions of her release. She is under supervision, like probation, supervision, but actually a little more strict,
Mm-hmm.
until she's 37 years old. She has to go to therapy. She's actually escorted to therapy.
Hmm.
by a social worker. She has to stay on her court-ordered medication,
Mm-hmm.
and she has to stay within the town that she lives in. She still lives in the same city, and she's not allowed to leave that city.
Okay.
And she was on a GPS monitor for 2 years. I think they recently removed the GPS monitor.
Okay.
So that's on Anissa. And
Mm-hmm.
Anissa was diagnosed with schizophrenia, but there wasn't as much information. Morgan, she was diagnosed in October of 2014 with early onset childhood schizophrenia. By December of 2015, so within a year,
Mm-hmm.
being on consistent antipsychotic medications that enabled her to understand what she did,
Mm-hmm.
she was able to express appropriate remorse with appropriate affect. So
Okay.
she actually could understand what she did, which I think is hard. Can you imagine? You get on meds, it balances your brain chemistry, you learn more about what you did when
Mm-hmm.
you weren't in your right mind.
Mm-hmm.
In that respect, it's a little bit like drunk driving. Like you're just driving, you're not trying to hit anyone, but you did a thing. Like you weren't well, you made a decision, you did a thing, it hurt somebody, and sometimes it takes some time, particularly like if you're drinking every day, to
Yep.
understand the impact of what you did.
Mm-hmm.
So this was pre-trial. Pre-trial, she was able to express remorse. Both of them pled guilty. So neither tried a non-guilty plea. They just were found by the jury to
Okay.
be mentally ill, essentially.
Yeah. Right.
So here's the thing with Morgan that I think is kind of hard. Her mental health deteriorated while she was incarcerated, which is common, of
Mm-hmm.
course,
Mm-hmm.
right? So while she was incarcerated, they transferred her to Winnebago Mental Health Institute. She was the youngest patient there. And basically, they were both charged as adults instead of juveniles, though they challenged that multiple times.
Mm-hmm. So they went back to court after they were both in their right mind.
Yeah, they were not, they were still pre-trial because the trial took a long time. So
Okay.
they were both pre-trial and medicated. Now, Anissa had empathy from the beginning. Well, at least had remorse. I have my own opinions about her
Okay.
underlying motivations, but she at least had remorse and understood
Yeah.
what they did.
Yeah.
Morgan really did. I mean, as far as she was concerned,
Like
Slender
no
Man,
one was
they
wrong.
had to do this or their parents would, like their families would die. That's what they thought.
Right. Right.
They had to do this to appease Slender Man. And it makes so much sense to me that this being, this it
Mm-hmm.
hallucination that she saw would merge with Slender Man. That makes so much sense in my brain.
Yeah.
That probably those they became one and the same, and then she's hallucinating that he's there and he's telling her things. And I don't know if our listeners have spent time with anybody who is having hallucinations,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not what you think it is. Like sometimes it is the person by the train station downtown or whatever who's talking to themselves, but a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times it's somebody who almost looks a little bit inattentive
Mm-hmm.
because they just can't pay attention to everything at once.
Yep.
So they're hearing voices, they're seeing things, and then they're also trying to engage in like normal conversation. It's hard for them. So they
Yeah.
tend to be a little bit quiet and they look a little bit inattentive. But once they started to treat her, then she was able to understand what she did. Now, Morgan, because she has not been released and there's no like plan for her to be released anytime soon, she
Mm-hmm.
petitioned the court in 2020 to be retried as a juvenile.
Interesting.
Because it would shorten her stint and she could maybe be able to be released.
Okay.
And the court rejected that fully.
Mm. They rejected it because she now knows what she did.
I don't know why they rejected it. So
Okay.
this is where I struggle with the judicial system on this one. The court's refusing to hear any further appeal on the
Mm.
case. And they petitioned January 2024 for her to be released. Judge denied that request. What's sad to me is she's not going to get out for a very long time, if ever.
Yeah.
And the thing that's hard about that is you can stabilize schizophrenia,
Yeah.
particularly with the kind of support and structure that Anissa has.
Right.
So because Morgan is the one who did the stabbing, she's the one who's going to be there forever, which I, it is what it is. Like I understand paying for your mistakes and everything else, but this was a
Right.
12-year-old kid with
Yeah.
a mental disorder. So like if cancer made you do this,
Right.
right? Or diabetes or whatever else, it's so unfortunate because the behavior's heinous. I
Yeah.
feel terrible for the victim and their family.
Mm-hmm.
I think Anissa was more than happy at the time
Mm-hmm.
as a 12-year-old to be in this dynamic against Bella.
Mm.
And so I have issues with Anissa on that front because I think that
Right.
was driving a lot of her, but she was like, go ahead. That's twisty too. Like she didn't step in, she didn't do anything. And she was very much a part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because one thing schizophrenic people don't do well is lie.
Right.
They just tell you the stuff. They might
Yep.
try to mask it if they have family who says, hey, you can't tell people that, right? Then they just get quiet.
Mm-hmm.
But in my experience with severely mentally ill people, I mean, maybe they're just that good, but I don't think so. I haven't been manipulated by too many schizophrenic folks.
Right. It's hard for them to manipulate.
Yeah, because they're too busy just trying to manage all the stimuli that's happening in their
Yes.
brain.
They're trying to make sense of everything.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Couple of things happened that are kind of cool from a heart perspective because from a psychological perspective, slam dunk schizophrenia diagnosis for Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
I can have empathy for all three. These are 12-year-old girls, right?
Right.
But Morgan, I mean, her diagnosis fits to a T. This, and you and I have talked about how annoying the insanity defense can be.
Mm-hmm.
But in this particular case, this child was not okay.
Yeah.
Was not okay. And it reiterates what we've said about parents getting into your kids' stuff, know what videos they're watching, know what they're
Yep.
doing, monitor their activities,
Know what's going on.
more so when they have mental health, but do
Right.
it.
Well, and I can't imagine that it was that like she was that good at hiding her
Mm-mm,
symptoms from her parents.
no.
So I just wonder like why were they trying to jump in? I don't know.
Well, and the other thing is, this is when YouTube, I remember sitting with somebody in my office, one of my teens, YouTube will play a couple of videos and then it just goes left. So it'll play like, let's say you go shiny dinosaurs or something. You could be 4 years old. Like this is so fun.
Sure.
I don't know. 6-year-olds can type. Maybe it's six year
Yeah.
olds watching dinosaurs. And it'll be like three adorable videos of dinosaurs. And then all of a sudden it's like something else, something else, something else, something else. And you're a hop and a skip from porn. I mean, it's like in 2 seconds. It's
Mm-hmm.
wild.
Mm-hmm.
And so it makes me terribly nervous. YouTube makes me so nervous. My kid doesn't watch YouTube at all
Yeah.
because I don't know what's going to happen in that minute that it switches to something else. And I can't
Right.
monitor that all the time, right?
Right.
So there's other ways. I'm not, and believe me, I am so not a perfect mom. My kid looks at screens, all the things, but he's not watching YouTube because I know what's on YouTube.
Right.
And it's really scary. And
Yeah.
now you have TikTok where it's boom, 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 and there's an
Mhm.
algorithm. And so if you have a kid who's on their device with no interruption and they're
Mhm.
fixated on Slender Man, all they're seeing is Slender Man all day long.
Mhm.
That was starting to really be a thing when these guys went down the Slender Man rabbit hole,
Mhm.
right? So in the wake of this, the creepypasta wiki, like for whatever, was
Yep.
banned from the Waukesha School District.
Good.
Yeah. The creator issued a statement with condolences to the
Mm.
family of the victim.
Mhm.
Members of Creepypasta raised money for the victim.
Aw, that's good.
And then finally, in October of 2019, when she was 17 years old, Bella talked about how she befriended Morgan at school because she just, like I said earlier, noticed that she was alone.
Mhm.
And she talked about how Anissa seemed jealous of
Mhm.
their friendship
Mhm.
and that she had noticed that dynamic and had been trying to kind of extricate herself from
Right.
the dynamic. So Anissa's not all innocent in this one.
No.
She's just not. I did some noodling and I have questions for you.
Okay.
My first question is, why do you think we as a society, I mean, the world is this way, but especially in America, I feel like
Hmm.
we have a fixation with the whole horror genre. Why are
Ooh.
we into this?
Mm, I think a few reasons. I think there's a level of mystery behind it, and
Mhm.
we, for some reason, love mystery.
We're kind of naturally curious.
Yes. But to be honest, I don't fully know.
Hmm.
What do you think?
I don't know. I've thought about this a million times. I think for women, because it really makes no sense for women to love horror. Our lives are scary enough just in our day to day. But I think there's a trauma reenactment piece to it a little bit.
Well, that, and I wonder if there's a part of, especially for women, because men don't really love this.
Mm-mm.
Like my husband is like, oh, you're watching another murder documentary, right?
Oh, yeah. But I'm talking horror, not true crime. I'm talking like slasher flicks.
Hmm. I wonder if some of it is like, you've mentioned this before around crime. I
Yeah.
wonder if it's this kind of on steroids, but we're already hyper vigilant or like about our surroundings. And so I wonder if part of the horror stuff goes with that, right? Like
Yeah.
the Scream movies when I was a kid scared the living crap out of me. I was
Scared the bejesus out of me. I was like,
uh-huh. I hated the Scream mask. I hated
same,
it.
same.
I was like terrified on Halloween because of the Scream mask.
Yes,
But I think part of that, and then, for like probably years, I would sleep with my light on or whatever because I was
absolutely.
terrified of the Scream Man breaking into my home. So I think
Absolutely.
there's some hypervigilance maybe to it for
Almost
women.
like a mental rehearsal. It's like our brains are kind of like, what do? We know we don't run up the stairs, right? That makes us yell at the screen. But there is an element of, and that's what I mean by like trauma reenactment, where it's sort of like, oh, I've been in scary positions before. If I am again, here's what I'm going to do. It's like if my life fear gets turned up 100 notches, what do I do?
Yeah.
And it is kind of self-medicating. Like the reason that adrenaline is
Hmm.
self-medicating, and makes us feel a certain way is because of that mechanism in our brain. So I don't know if we like, but we are awakened by neurologically
Hmm.
a little bit of fear.
Yeah.
It's like wakes us up. It's like a little jolt to our
Yep.
system.
Yep.
And I do think that we as people kind of like that.
Yeah.
I think that when it comes to the myth of Slender Man, people love to tell stories. And I also think we're programmed to believe things.
Hmm.
We're not the best critical thinkers. We got a whole lot of group thinkers. That's kind of our baseline. We have to work hard to be critical thinkers.
Yes. Well, especially as kids too.
Yeah, so we hear stories and I think we get kind of interested and it becomes lore and then it's mythology and on we go.
Hmm.
You know?
Hmm.
One theory that I read that was so interesting was that the reason Slender Man may have been so popular was because it was almost a metaphor for like hopelessness, power differentials, and anonymous forces, like feeling like you're just being forced to do something.
Interesting. And I mean, everyone has intrusive thoughts,
Hmm.
right? So it's almost like this reason to act on some of those intrusive thoughts,
Hmm.
and then you add mental health concerns and diagnoses into that mix, and it can turn into
Absolutely.
this type of situation.
Well, and I will tell you, my friends,
Hmm.
I am real fun to like play pranks on and stuff
Hmm.
because I'm a little oblivious sometimes. It's funny because I'm hyper vigilant about some things and other things like I would you could hang a new picture on my wall, I wouldn't notice for a long time, you know? So I had some friends in high school and they knew I was at a sleepover when the first Scream movie came out.
Oh
And the
no.
parents went to pick up the pizza and they were going to be gone for a little bit
Hmm.
and they put on Scream. And I was like, I should not be watching this. Like I was so stressed out, couldn't sleep. I think my parents may have picked me up. I can't remember. But I
Oh,
was like really, really scared. I hate it. Now I love them. I watch them all the
I
time.
know, I love
I
them too.
love them. We both love them. We're going to do a marathon.
Yep.
But that was my original scary movie. Like that's my core memory scary movie with all my girlfriends, right? Where you're trying to sit in the middle of the cluster of girls in case the guy comes through the window, right? Like
You
that
don't want
was
to be
it.
on the end.
Yes, 100%. You can't be on the end.
Mm-mm.
And you want to have your back to the wall. You don't want to have the, anything behind you. It's a whole thing. You got to think it through.
Uh,
My friends used to prank me, my guy friends in particular, and they would call my house. One time I was babysitting, and I didn't think any of my friends knew I was babysitting, and they started calling that house. They managed to figure out the number to the house where I was babysitting, which freaked me right out.
oh no.
And I literally told my one of my best friends at the time, I said, if this is you, I'm going to kill you. I just want you to know I'm not playing. So if you
No.
show up, I'm going to end you.
Yes.
So please tell me it's not you who's
Uh-huh.
doing this phone calling, right?
Uh-huh.
And they finally stopped because one time I actually did like grab a butcher knife and I was like ready to just do whatever needed to be done.
Oh my
I
God.
really did. And then when I was in college, my dear friend and roommate for years was
Hmm.
even shorter than you. She's 4'10"
Oh wow.
something. I mean like little.
Yeah.
Like had to sit on a phone book in a rental car, kind of little, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And so our peephole was too tall for her in
Oh
our
my.
apartment. So my parents came over one time. There's a chair in the hallway in front of the front door, and there's a knife on the chair because she got up on the chair to look through the peephole.
Yes, and
And
she
she's
needed
not going to do
a
that
knife.
without a knife because our friends were
Yes,
messing with us.
she needed a knife.
This is the thing that would happen. So that is one of our like if we talk about purity culture being like really core for people our age, I do feel
Uh-huh.
like this is something that now it's like paranormal activity and it's all that kind of stuff, but it
Yep.
was straight slasher flicks for us growing
Oh
up.
yeah, same.
And it was so
Okay.
scary.
My first, so Scream was one of them, but my very first scary movie that I watched was Pet Cemetery.
Oh, I've never seen that one.
Oh
Is it
my
really scary? I
gosh. Well, now, if you watch it now, like the old school one, there's a
yeah.
new one. If you watch the old school one, like it's just as cheesy as the old school Scream movies. But as a child, they're not cheesy.
No.
Terrifying. You should actually watch during Halloween time. We'll have a movie night
We
and
need
we'll
to have a
watch
movie night.
the old school Pet Cemetery. It's ridiculous, but it was terrifying at the time.
Yes. Because we can't differentiate. I don't have the it's just a movie gene and neither do you. Like we're in it,
Right.
you know? And I think when I think about these girls, in particularly Morgan, it just
Mhm.
makes so much sense to me that her little brain got fixated because my brain, when I heard the Slender Man thing, got fixated because of
Yeah.
Scream.
Yeah.
So you put like kind of a nondescript
Yeah.
person in kind of a black outfit, like that black robe with the white face. I'm scared out of my mind. I hate it so much.
Uh-huh.
If that can stick in my brain as a 40-year-old woman and forensic therapist,
Mm-hmm.
a 12-year-old with schizophrenia doesn't have much of a fighting chance,
No.
especially if there's already a figure that she's identified
Hmm.
that is like this character that's been created, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that is our Slender Man case. And last thing on Bella, they
Mm-hmm.
asked Bella, what would you say to Morgan? And she said, I would thank her because it showed me what I want to do with my life, which is to go into medicine.
Aw.
So we love Bella.
What a sweet girl.
Bella is a badass, bona fide badass.
I love
We
that.
should make trophies and like send them to people. You are a bona fide badass. This is like you're in the highest tier.
We'd have to find their address, which is kind of creepy.
That is so creepy. Maybe we'll just give them social media shout out that you know what? You are a bona fide, you are a top shelf badass,
Yes. Yes.
right?
And if you want a trophy, DM us.
Yeah, send us a PO box. We could send
Yep.
stuff to a PO box, whatever you want. I
Yeah.
get you. You stay
Great.
hidden, whatever. I feel like she probably is not hiding though. I think this is a pretty tough little cookie,
Mm-hmm.
and a hell of a survivor.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think, girl? What do you think of the case?
Well, I'm shocked I didn't know about it.
Uh-huh.
I think the heart piece for me, three things, right? Obviously, Bella, right? She was the victim in all
Love
this.
Bella.
She survived, which is amazing. That's so surprising. And the heart piece for Morgan is the mental health piece of it for her,
Hmm.
right? I mean, it sounds like when everything happened, it was like no one was home,
Oh yeah.
right? Like total mental health was driving her,
Yes.
and we weren't getting out of that.
No.
With Anissa, the heart piece for her, and this is no excuse for her to stab
Hmm.
her friend because that's literally insane.
Oh yeah.
My heart piece for her though is when you're 12 and you're a girl,
Yes.
it's really hard.
Oh yeah.
It's so hard to be a girl, a preteen girl and a teen girl, but a preteen
Yeah.
girl and navigate your friendships. It's
Oh
just,
yeah.
we need to figure out how to be more proactive with girls not being mean to
Yeah.
girls. We need to end this mean girl
Oh
thing
yeah.
because it's just not helpful. And I don't know what to do.
I know. Same. Well, and she clearly too, I've been hard on Anissa in this episode, but I have a bone to pick with her. But also, she's
Hmm.
12. So like
Right,
if I found her on the side of the road after this happened, like she is a child.
right.
And she had some mental health things going on underlying. She ended up being diagnosed with schizophrenia.
Yeah,
I think it's a very unfortunate combination of things that happen.
yeah.
But you're absolutely right. There's some mean girl stuff happening there.
Oh,
There just was. I don't
yes.
think Morgan was mean girling it. Anissa was mean girling it. I don't
Hmm.
think Morgan was capable of mean girling it. Morgan was just being Morgan.
Right.
Morgan
Mhm.
was doing Morgan things, seeing things. She had her hands full.
Yep.
You know,
Yes.
managing her brain was a full-time job, I think, for
Mhm.
Morgan.
Mhm. Yeah.
But how do you feel about the fact, Nat, that like Anissa's out? Anissa's out and can build a life. She was released when she was 19 years old in 2021. So she's like 22, rebuilding her life under psychiatric care.
Hmm.
And Morgan, there's no end in sight, which on the one hand, I really understand. She stabbed someone 19 times, almost killed this girl. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a little unthinkable that she would just walk out. But
Hmm.
from a mental health perspective, if she's medicated now and understands what she did, I don't know.
But I mean, yes, I agree with you. However, I think of it like if she was an adult at the time and still struggled with the same mental health struggles, we
Hmm.
probably wouldn't have the same, well, I'll speak for me. I probably wouldn't have the same empathy, right, for an
Yeah.
adult who did this, especially an adult man.
Well, and this is the sucky thing about mental health because
Mhm.
yes, what she did was horrible. Is it more horrible than an autistic child that can't communicate and beat someone up?
Right.
Or again, like
Yeah.
having diabetes or asthma or like
Yeah.
other childhood disorders. It's just so
Mhm.
hard.
I know.
Schizophrenia is so biological
Yeah.
that that's just heartbreaking to me. But of course, I understand that they can't just turn this person loose, necessarily.
And I think the risk of it is oftentimes individuals with schizophrenia tend to go off their medication. And then the scary part is what's going to happen when they're off.
Right. And we know this from working with folks on probation. It is way harder to put them back in
Hmm.
than it is to let them out. And so
Yeah.
the problem is once you release someone, it's very, very hard to get containment back.
Yep. So my guess is that's probably more of the risk than them just keeping her
Mhm.
locked up. I think the risk is greater than the reward in this one. And so they're going to go along with the risk.
I do get that.
Yeah.
It's
But
just
it's
sad.
tough. Yeah. I don't love that Anissa is out. I mean, I think they should both serve,
Really don't love that.
but
Sorry, Anissa, I'm sure you're doing great things.
I
But
hope.
but
Yeah.
I would have been the no vote on whatever panel made that decision probably
Yeah.
for a bit
Like
longer.
they both held the girl down. They should
Yes.
both be serving their time.
Yes. I would
So,
agree with that.
yeah.
Well, thanks so much. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode and didn't get too spooked out.
Yeah, this one is gnarly.
I know. And we'll see you next time, as always.
Bye, forensic friends.
I'm Janine.
And I'm Nat.
And as always, thanks for listening and join us next week for more crime, psychology, and heart.